Can you believe it? Now, just over 5 weeks away from college basketball season?
It was great to see all 10 teams in the gym this week. Brings a smile to your face to know that Big East schools back in the gym, working hard, basketball season right around the corner.
Let's do it. Big East Shoot-Around tips off right now. And there it is, all 10 back at it. Jay, I am jacked.
Well, John, seeing everyone in the gym, it gets me thinking, what is the biggest talking point for this season? There's so many you could point to.
I go to the sophomore guards in the conference.
Okay.
Marcus Howard at Marquette. He's going to get even bigger workload. So how does he handle that after leading the country in three-point field goal percentage last year? I look to Kamar Baldwin, the sophomore, out taking over at point guard. And then I go to St. John's. Pons, Levette, can they be more efficient? Sophomores, we hear about the slumps. These guys are looking to take climbs.
I agree with you. I think you have to focus, and it's been talked about this week, is who will be the Big East Player of the Year. Last year, everybody kind of knew going into the season Josh Hart was the guy. This year, wide open. One of the guys, Trayvon Blewett, he's got some new uniforms. Check out the Musketeers' new look. And you know Trey's going to be rocking these. Whoo! Sharp.
I am a huge, huge fan of the running man throwbacks, Jay. These are so slick. The royal blue, I just love it. The Musketeers, they just do it right between the uniforms, between the Cintas Center. I saw the student section seats going in today. There's a lot going on with Xavier. After an Elite Eight season, the hype is real. You
mentioned the running man uniforms. I'd like to, hey, can you send a couple out to shoot around here in New York? I'd like to get one for myself. Those are sharp. The Musketeers will rock them better than we would, but sweet.
You asked me about preseason storylines, and one of the biggest ones, and we're going to be at the blue and white scrimmage on Saturday at Villanova, is the return of Phil Booth. He returned all right last weekend. Not on the hardwood, on the dance floor.
Hey, Villanova fans, just happy to see Phil Booth moving and grooving. He's got some moves.
Yeah, it was to the song Poison, which I like myself. I got to be honest.
Can you sing us a few bars?
No, I'm not going to sing a few bars, but I've kept that to the shower. So
you wouldn't stick up to Phil Booth singing a great rendition, and he got into it. Teammates helping out as well. Ooh, can't wait to see him get on the court, though.
Yeah, an all Final Four team member on that national title team.
He played valuable minutes down the stretch for that Wildcats team.
In the WNBA, you saw it, Minnesota coming out on top, and Rebecca Brunson, the former Georgetown Hoya, the first five-time WNBA champion in the history of the association.
The only women's basketball player to ever do it. Hats off to Brunson and Big East women's basketball, Georgetown hoops. A lot to be proud of, doing it at the big-time level. 13 years in the league, 5 championships for Brunson.
Enough of us. Let's turn it to you. We're on Facebook Live. We're on the Big East Twitter page. We're on Fox Sports Go. Hey, we're on iTunes every week. Subscribe, download, get to the podcast every week with exclusive interviews and more. What's your preseason storyline? Give it to us right now. If you're watching from your office, you're on your way home.
Send it in.
We shared ours. Send us your preseason storyline. We'll get right to it. Here's a big storyline. Creighton. They say goodbye to Justin Patton. They got 2 legit wings in Kyrie Thomas and Marcus Foster.
And Coach Greg McDermott, he really uses that transfer market. We saw him do it with Marcus Foster. What an impact season Foster had a year ago. He went again to the transfer market, bringing Kaleb Joseph from Syracuse, made a Final Four with the Orange, and now looking to take over that point guard spot. John Fanta, you spoke to both of them earlier this week.
But before we do that, Jay, we gotta go hats off to Steve Lapis, who went to the NYC Basketball Hall of Fame this week, and so we throw it back to 99, a rivalry renewed.
The Villanova-Georgetown rivalry speaks for itself in the Big East. Every time they get together, tradition comes to mind. On January 30th, 1999, that was no different, as this matchup serves as one of the best Big East regular season encounters in the conference's history. Steve Lapis' Wildcats going up against Craig Esherick's Hoyas, and we go late to the second half where Bunje puts in the putback dunk to tie it up at 67. This goes to double overtime. It was Brian Lynch of Villanova who came up huge from beyond the arc.
Lynch! Oh, how big was that with a minute to go? Brian Lynch bombs a three, and Nova takes the lead.
But Kevin Braswell of the Hoyas would not be denied on the ensuing possession with a crazy finish to give the Hoyas the lead back. And after a missed free throw by the Hoyas, Villanova had the ball, needing a three to tie it. Here's how it sounded on ESPN.
There's no Brian Lynch to go to.
Gave up his dribble quickly.
Celestin quickly to Howard Brown. It's on the way. It's good. Get ready for overtime number 3. It'll be here in a moment, as stated earlier.
Uh-oh. Let's see what happens.
Now it's... Oh, good! Villanova won!
I don't believe it.
20-year history of the Big East. This, Rex, is one of the great all-time Big East games.
Well, when you think about impact transfers in college basketball last year, the guy that made an immediate impact on the Creighton Blue Jays, Marcus Foster, the Kansas State transfer. And today he's joined by Kaleb Joseph, who now is a Syracuse transfer for Creighton, looking to make an impact for the Blue Jays this year. Marcus, you said you went to Creighton because of the culture of the program. What is it that Kaleb adds to that Creighton culture?
The same qualities that we already have on this team. Kaleb brings a great leadership to this team. He's a good vocal leader for us. And, he comes and works hard every day. Out of everybody on this team, Kaleb, he spent the most time in the gym last year, and he really just wanted to improve. So, that's the Creighton culture. We come, work hard, and take care of our business on and off the court, and Caleb's a great example for that.
Kaleb, with that said, how have you used Marcus as a resource with him having gone through that year of sitting out as a transfer?
Well, last year, me and Marcus, we were roommates. So when I was transitioning into that redshirt year, I was able to pick his brain a lot and just see what he thought about it, what he utilized, what he took from it, and try to implement it into my year. So he's been great. He's been a great leader for us so far, and I've definitely learned a lot from him and other transfers.
Marcus, I want to go back to last season right away. And let's get right to it. The Big East tournament comes to mind instantly. You hitting a huge, what turned out to be a game-winning shot to lift your team to the Big East tournament championship game against Villanova. Let's roll the tape from that because this is outstanding. We got a flashback today. In a stretch like this at Madison Square Garden, what is going through your mind?
Right now I'm thinking, I gotta get my team ahead, and we're playing in Madison Square Garden. This is something you dream about as a kid. Stepping up and making this big shot right here, and I can't even describe how much that means to me now, even looking back at it, because it's something I can always talk about for the rest of my life.
Kaleb, when you see something like that, and you got to, in your process of sitting out, look at Big East basketball throughout the year, what did you take away from the way the conference plays?
It's just exciting. It's exciting to see my teammates go out there and compete every day. And I kind of felt like I was out there with them. I was going crazy when I was back here watching those games. But really just the preparation that goes into it. And I was just eager to get out there and show what I can do.
Kaleb, Coach McDermott said to the Omaha World Herald last week that we've got to be able to play fast, but not in a hurry. What do you think he means by that?
We're one of the fastest teams in the country. We like to get up and down. We play at a really high pace. But when doing so, it's easy to get out of control and to get loose with the ball. But if we're going to be an effective team, then we need to be able to push the tempo, but also play smart and make quality plays down the stretch.
Marcus, you guys challenge the defense with that pace. What exactly on the court? You talked about the culture that Kaleb adds to your group, but what has he done on the court for you and Kyrie Thomas?
He gets downhill into the paint, and he gets me and Kyrie open looks. And, with his ability to get to the goal and score and finish over big men, they have to honor him and have to help, and that's how guys help in, and he kicks out to us for three.
Marcus, can you dance?
No, I'm not a big dancer, really. I never dance.
I beg to differ.
I think Ronnie, that's Ronnie. He's the dancer.
I beg to differ. We've got footage of last year. Come on, you were at NYC. You're forgetting about going right in the Big East tournament. Come on, Kaleb, what do you think of these moves?
Oh yeah, I did have it that day. I had Justin and Kobe with me for that. They was helping me out. I was a little nervous back there, but them two guys, they're always joking around. So I kind of got into the moment. That was one of my rare times you'll see me dance.
You look pretty good right there, Kaleb. What do you think?
If I'm being honest, he didn't look great, but his outfit was nice. So I'm gonna be looking for that gold chain.
We do have a couple of fan questions, and one of them was, this is out of nowhere. What's your favorite Toby Hegner moment or story?
You want to take that one?
Man, my favorite Toby Hegner story has to be T-shirt Toby. We were playing Wisconsin last year, and Toby hit two or three threes in a row and got us back in the game. And he was on ESPN that night, and everybody was calling him T-shirt Toby. So that's one of my Toby stories.
That's funny.
I was watching the Big Three over the summer. Not sure if you caught it, but they put in a 4-point shot. Would you like that in college hoops?
Oh, I would love that shot in college hoop. I don't think Mac would like it for me, but I would love it. I'd probably shoot about 5 of them shots a game.
All right, Marcus, you're a criminal justice major. Tell me, what goes into that academic program? And do you watch a lot of CSI or Law & Order SVU? Cops? I love Live PD on A&E. I just saw that over the weekend. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, it really started with Law and Order. I've always watched it growing up, and then, when I got to college, I just really got interested in like how law started and all the different things I can do. So that's definitely where it started. And I do watch live. I watch Live PD every weekend, so I'm really committed to it.
It's like NFL Red Zone for the law.
True, it really is. They be going from different locations and all these different things are happening. I remember one time a fan even told the police officer something happened and he ended up catching it.
Okay, so now that was really fun. This one might not be as fun for me. Kaleb, you are a healthy lifestyle management major.
Yeah.
As you can see by looking at me, I was not a healthy lifestyle management major. What are your tips for me, as well as Big East Hoops fans, for how we can stay active when the Big East Hoop season comes along and we just want to sit on the couch and watch FS1 all day?
Yeah, I think part of being just healthier decision making. So I would say if you're going to sit on your couch all day, then probably choose a healthier food to eat. So instead of eating popcorn, maybe grab some fruit. But I don't mind you sitting around watching basketball all day.
Can I watch you guys and eat popcorn?
It's like a show, so you might have to grab some popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. I think you should have a healthy lifestyle management minor, Marcus Foster. I think you'd be good at that one.
I think I got you.
Yeah, I think so too. We got Law and Order. We got some healthy tips. I'm just gonna start calling you guys for advice, right?
Anytime, you get our number. You can just call us.
All right, guys. I'll tell you what. I can't wait to watch you play this season. You played a thrilling style, and we're looking forward to seeing just that this year. Marcus Foster, Kaleb Joseph, good luck with the rest of the preseason.
Thanks for having us.
Every weekend you're watching Live PD. John, we got to get this guy a Netflix account. There's better entertainment than that.
What?
I've never watched it. I've never watched it, but come on. People getting arrested? Try House of Cards, Marcus.
Come on. I have a fun time watching that show. I think it's great. I think it's an excellent show.
I'll tell you this.
I give him full credit.
Kaleb and Marcus were a fun time, and you can catch the full interview on our YouTube page.
Yeah, that might mean for me, based on what Kaleb was telling me, I might need an episode or two more of Dr. Oz or the Doctors or something, but,
The interviews keep rolling here on Shoot Around. We are so lucky that here at the Big East, we can pick the brain of Stu Jackson. He was on the road in the Midwest, and here's our chat with the University of Oregon Hall of Fame.
Big East Senior Associate Commissioner for Men's Basketball, Stu Jackson, is on the road throughout the preseason. How were the travels?
Travels are well, John. Got to visit 3 schools over the past several days. Got to visit Marquette. And from there, I went to Xavier and ended up at Butler.
We got a slick graphic we got to show Stu. Stu on the road. He does it every single season. All 10 schools in the preseason. You got your own bus, the Big East bus. And your first stop, Butler, Hinkle. And how impressive were the Bulldogs with LaVall Jordan, first-year head coach?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, anybody that, anytime you have a transition from one successful coach and a new coach comes in, you try to evaluate like where the team is. And I can tell you what I told Coach Jordan at the end of practice. If there's any concern about how the Butler way is going to transition under him, I was at least satisfied it's going to be fine. And when I watched them practice, from a defensive standpoint, there's no change. They still get after it. They're aggressive. They execute. They've got a great spirit of place amongst the team. And I think they're off to a good start on this transition.
I go to Cincinnati, and it's crazy thinking about a team that went to the Elite Eight last year, welcomes virtually everybody back, on top of that, brings in arguably the conference's best recruiting class. What is it about Chris Mack that's enabled him to just build not just a team, but a program that is consistently turning out great season after great season?
I think every program's at a different point, but when you're at the stage that Xavier's at, success breeds more success. And for prospective recruits out there, given the success that they've had in the NCAA tournament and throughout the conference, you're going to attract good athletes. And you're right. I was very impressed by Xavier's freshmen. I think at least 2 to 3 of them will, play right away, adding to an already talented group at Xavier. And I suspect going into the preseason, Xavier will be picked as one of our top 3 teams. And after watching that team practice, you can see why.
A game away from the Final Four, maybe this is the year they take that jump with the personnel that they have on the floor.
Well, they certainly have the pedigree. And, oftentimes when you see teams that have great success, and I'm talking like Final Four success or getting to the Elite Eight, it usually follows a year after they've had, a certain level of success. They come in hungry. Mm-hmm. They understand from a mental standpoint what really needs to be done. And in the case of Xavier, when you got 2 guys like J.P. McCura and Trevon Blewett, the chances of that happening, I think, are great. And, I sat there and watched the Xavier practice, and it's almost like a guy like Blewett, you take him for granted. He's so good a player, right? Such a great scorer, such a great shooter, that he just goes about his business as a senior leader. And, you left at the end of the day saying, boy, the guy's a pretty good player.
We turned to Marquette, and Steve Wojciechowski in his 4th season said, look, we got to the NCAA tournament last year, playing with the shooters we had, but that's not the way that he necessarily wants to win in the Big East. What did you see from them that would indicate that there'll be a bit of a different look to them this year?
Well, it's interesting. Wojo, I think, like any very good coach, tries to lay a foundation for his team based upon the personnel he has. And you walk away from Marquette, and I actually told the staff at Butler and Xavier, nothing's changed at Marquette. They can still score.
Yeah.
But they're spending a large part of their time at the defensive end, trying to improve themselves defensively. They've got some size that, from the young freshman Theo John, that they're going to rely on a lot. And if they can have an inside presence defensively, I think they're going to be headed for a very good year as well.
The one thing that I think is so fascinating in this conference going into this season, and all the national writers have been talking about in the last week, last year we knew Josh Hart was probably the best player in the league. This year, Stu, it is a multi-horse race.
Without question, and again, it really speaks to the quality and the depth of the players in our conference this year when you start talking about, Jalen Brunson and Angel Delgado and Trevon Blewett, and, the list goes on. I mean, there are 3 players that will be probably in the top 25 players nationally. And, that every year in the Big East is different. I think because of the quality and the depth of the players this year, it makes this year, interesting. And really, I think earmarks who the Big East is this year. We have players.
So, Stu, you just finished a Midwest trip. You get back on the bus. Where's next? Where are your next stops? Because you got to hit all 10.
Well, Jay, I try to stay stealth.
Okay.
I don't announce these things prematurely.
Checkup, a surprise.
But I'll give you a little hint. I may go local here over the next few days.
Okay.
And it's like Dad showing up to the dorm, sort of, and checking in on. You got 10 kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I'm checking in.
Yeah. They if I tell them coming, they may lock the door.
Right.
So I want to make sure that surprising.
Well,
I'm surprised they didn't put you on the floor to practice. You still got the post moves.
No, I got no game at all, John.
Oh, I don't
You know
buy that
who-
for
And
a
worse
second.
yet, I got no
don't buy
hops.
that for
I got
a
no
second.
hops. I got no.
Well, you know-
the wheels are bad. So.
Come on.
Better hops than this guy.
All right, that's enough. We're about to see my hops because we've got shoot-around. You know who does have game? Kyron Cartwright and
Yeah,
Alpha
yes, he
Diallo.
does.
We had an epic shootout with them, but first, let's find out about what St. John's brings in for this upcoming season.
Chris Mullen and the Red Storm welcome two fresh faces in this year's freshman class. Meet 6'3" shooting guard Brian Trimble out of Kansas City, Missouri. In his senior year at Sunrise Christian Academy, Trimble averaged 14 points a game while shooting 45% from three. Not only is he lights out from beyond the arc, but he can take it to the hoop as well. A dynamic player, Trimble had a list of schools challenging for his signature, including Florida State, Oklahoma State, and Providence, but Trimble decided on the Red Storm in New York City. Joining the guard is Boubacar De Ikita. Originally from Mali, the 6'8" small forward took the exact same path to St. John's that teammate Kasum Yakwe did. Playing high school ball at Our Savior New America in New York and AAU basketball for the PSA Cardinals. De Ikita also competed in the FIBA Africa U18 Championship for Mali, finishing third and averaging 6.5 points a game. Add these two with impact transfers Marvin Clark and Justin Simon, and the Johnnies bring in a very strong group this upcoming year.
So how the game goes is you start at the F, and you have to make a shot from every letter to win. So
Let's do it.
Come on.
oh, it's on me. It's on me. No. Oh! John Fanta!
Jay Hunter's still stuck.
There we go.
Can't get a kind roll. Alpha's feeling the pressure here. Me taking the lead. Oh boy.
The rebuttal. Oh! I'm out.
But game on! Game on! Gotta keep fighting.
You got the A? Yeah. It takes a long time, it really does. I'm
To the
losing.
E!
I'm losing.
Show it off to me! Uh-oh. Every time I make one, Alpha responds. That's the Friar way.
2 in a row. Yeah,
Oh, you want to win?
win it out.
Alpha's got it here, folks.
Game time.
Game time for Alpha.
Hey!
Going off, I stay alive.
It's a race!
It's a race, it's race!
to R!
Friar! Gotta keep fighting.
Yellow! Oh, we're
Tie! We're tied!
The way we play.
Alpha
the way
Diallo.
we play,
How do we play?
well, even if he makes it, it doesn't matter what letter you were on. If he makes the final one, you get a chance to make all of them in a row to tie it up.
Oh,
So even if he makes
boy! Us, we together, Friars.
Fanta with a chance to win from the S.
Head down.
Yo, tie it up.
From the S.
Head down.
Yo, tie it up. Go for the tie. Go for the tie.
Time.
If you miss, Alpha, that's game.
3 on the clock.
2. Count down.
2. 1.
Let's go.
Onions. 2. 1.
Let's go.
Onions.
That's clutch. That's clutch. Let's go.
It's a tie.
Yeah, it's a tie.
That's a tie.
Credit to you, my friend. You did it. You went toe-to-toe with Alpha Diallo, and you had him. You were one miss away.
Good thing that it wasn't a dunk contest.
Yeah, you would have lost. Well, maybe you could hop on the shoulders.
I don't think that would have worked out.
Actually,
I don't think that
let's not try that. Let's not try that.
What do we got from the fans?
We tossed out earlier in the show who you thought would be Big East Player of the Year for this upcoming season. We got some submissions. Keep sending them in. Facebook and Twitter. We'll keep it coming. First up, what do you think? Co-Player of the Years. It could be this year because it's so wide open. And Matt thinks Kyron Cartwright, Kyrie Thomas.
That's fascinating because a lot of people think Brunson, Delgado blew it, but it speaks to the depth of the race. It really does. Cartwright running the show for Providence. He's so tough defensively, as is Thomas. It's almost like for Kyron, you want to see him continue to evolve on the offensive end. For Kyrie, that's the same thing as well. They both know how to defend, though.
And what's so funny is you might not even make the case that those two guys were the best players on their own team. Marcus Foster at Creighton, Rodney Bullock at Providence. It shows you how wide open it is this year. Let's keep them rolling. A couple more submissions here. Angel Delgado, you mentioned, it's definitely big man. And then Keelan Martin as well getting some mention.
Angel Delgado had a double-double in every home game last year for Seton Hall and in 17 of 18 Big East games. I mean, and he didn't get Player of the Year, so you look at that and you got to think, man, in his senior season, could he go up from there?
And then Jalen Brunson. I can't believe it was the third comment until we saw Brunson on the board. Definitely leading the way for Nova. And really, if it were decided by me today, I think I would lean Brunson.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly fine argument. I think it's a big-time race between Brunson, Delgado, Blewett. Would not be surprised with the way Villanova's been at the top of the conference that you see Brunson from the preseason.
But here's a name that keeps coming up, Kyron Cartwright. Now 3 submissions have mentioned his name.
Well, because, Jay, it's his pace, I think, that jumps off the page to us viewers, to us fans of the league. So you look at the way that Kyron runs the show there, and to think that he lifted a Providence team that had so much adversity, that had a 1-5 start to league play last year, that he still got them to the NCAA tournament. Now the sky's the limit for the kid.
It really shows you. Look, we just tossed this question out a half hour ago at the start of Shoot-Around, and we got so many different names. It shows you it is completely wide open. A year ago, it would have been 10 Josh Hart submissions in a row.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And it speaks to the conference's depth. And when you get 7 NCAA tournament teams in, you're going to have depth of stars. That's what this conference is about.
Perfectly said.
Absolutely. Let's get to Beyond the Game, and we've got a couple of things to get to this week. We are starting out in Indianapolis. We head to Butler for Beyond the Game as they took part in Project 44, honoring their number 44, Andrew Smith, who passed away after a 2-year battle with cancer back in 2016. Well, they took part in the Project 44 bone marrow and blood drive last week. New Butler head coach LaVall Jordan, he's on the team for this event. Butler Blue there as well. One of every 430 registrants gets called to potentially be a lifesaver. What a great event out at Butler. A tremendous effort by them to support a great cause. We also at the Big East are proud to take part in Mental Health Awareness Week. You saw over the summer a really great initiative with the Big East SAC as they held their mental health summit. The Big East SAC now leading a fundraising campaign to raise money for NAMI to lift awareness of mental health. You can donate to the campaign, Big East Hoops fans. Go to GoFundMe.com/BigEastMHS. GoFundMe.com/BigEastMHS. You just saw the footage from that mental health summit over the summer. What a great initiative by the Big East Conference, Val Ackerman and everybody. They believe in the conversation. It's a difficult one to have as we help to erase that stigma. I think it's such a great thing to be talking about, and it was really awesome to see that they held that over the summer.
Yeah, cutting edge over the summer for the Big East to step up down in Georgetown, get all 10 schools together and talk about such an important issue.
As we said at the start of the show, folks, the countdown is on
to
the season. 5 weeks away. Can you believe it? If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I mean, I don't know what you're waiting for because the season is just around the corner. The time is now. If you're going out on the road, get your calendar out and you got the schedule in front of you. Go to BigEast.com. There's a whole composite view. I know we're planning out our schedule for the season.
hope to get to a lot of these great games, really. It's tough to choose.
Yeah.
Some nights it's such a packed schedule. We might just be right here in the Big East Digital Network studios with the televisions on watching the whole slate.
Next week, a full preseason breakdown ahead of Big East Media Day. That's right, October 18th, we will be live from Madison Square Garden shoot-around at the Mecca with the players. We'll have coaches panels and much more. Stay tuned for all that info. He is Jay Alter. Any last words?
Well, next week, mark it down, the return of Justin Simon and Marvin Clark. You saw a shoot-around with the Friars. They were in studio a couple of weeks ago, now on the basketball court.
Let's see if the Alter jumper
improves.
Improves. We'll see about that.
Oh, man, it can only go up.
3 o'clock Eastern Time next Thursday. Fox Sports Go, Big East Facebook, at Big East on Twitter. He's Jay. I'm John. That season is just around the corner. Who'd win a tip-off between us?
That would be me.
I'd lose the size.